I'm Josh Kirby. This is the Kirby on Sports podcast. We are here at Millbrook High School. Pleased to be joined by newly named head football coach Nick Manuel, coming from the Shenandoah Warriors as their defensive coordinator. Coach, first and foremost, thank you so much for the time. And what's it feel? It must feel different going to a crosstown rival, but how has everything been? What have your emotions been like so far?
It's been exciting. And I just know the potential that Millbrook has to be a really good football program and a great school educationally. I'm just really excited to start working with these guys, and there's been some good energy from the players. We've been increasing our numbers at workouts every single day, so I think good things are to come.
So you've already started the workout process and everything. I know it's early, but coming into this role, was this something you were eyeing, or was this something that just stood out like, I might want to see if I'm a good fit here? What was that process like?
So after we ended our season at Shenandoah, actually I told our head coach that I was looking forward to come back as a defensive coordinator, and I really wasn't actually looking for head coaching jobs. But when a job opened up in Frederick County Public Schools, the area of which I've graduated and teach for all these years, I just thought it was unique. I live 5 minutes down the road, so I thought it was too good of an opportunity not to pass up, and I didn't want to have any regrets of going through in the future of passing up on a job that I possibly could have ended up getting. So it's been a good fit so far. I've met a lot of really good kids. Working with the staff that's currently here, like we're just focused on building relationships, and then just start to establish the standard of the hard work and discipline that we're trying to put out on the football field.
Millbrook football has been a storied program led under head coach Josh Haymore. When he stepped down, I know he's still in the building currently. He did take an assistant coaching job down at Strasburg, but have you spoken to him? What have you learned from him? What are you taking away sort of from him that you sort of want to continue with this program in a sense, if anything at all?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Coach Haymore. My first year as a defensive coordinator, he was able to put together a really good win against us. So ever since that time, I know that he ran a really good football program here. He had some really good runs, and our relationship is good. We've met together. He's kind of talked to me about some really good things that Millbrook has going for him, and then he also gave me some advice of, well, I don't know if this was really working, so that's something that you would want to consider changing. So, we're in touch through email. He's been a really good, role model or mentor for me so far throughout this process.
And just looking at everybody you've come across so far as when you've taken this job and just the support, what does that mean so early on?
Yeah, I think the support from people in the community has been very humbling. And even from a lot of people at Shenandoah, I think it could have went one way of where people look at me and don't want me to be successful, but that's not what I've came across so far. And even from the coaches at Shenandoah of they want me to be able to do good things here at Millbrook, but we know when it's time to play during the regular season, it's going to be the competition that we want it to be back between the Northwestern District.
So take me back, your time at Shenandoah, a very historic season. The playoff run, defeating James Wood, Jefferson Forest, then knock off Salem with a hit right off the crossbar, going down to Phoebus, unfortunately falling, but a successful season overall for the Shenandoah Warriors. I'm curious, Coach, you look at what you were able to do with your defense, stepping into a head coaching role. Do you take anything out of what you've learned at Shenandoah to try to implement it here in a sense?
Yeah, well, I reflect back on our season, and I just think of all the player success. And, the role of our seniors, and a lot of them put together a great season, and they got accolades of all district and all region. But what a lot of people don't realize is the commitment that they've had since freshmen. So it just wasn't a this season thing. Those kids have been putting in the work over several years. So when I think about what I'm trying to establish here at Millbrook is the standard with our youth of being committed to our program, and in the long run, it eventually does pay off. We took our lumps, 2 years ago with a 5-5 or 5-6 record, but we knew with the talent that we have coming back that we could have done something special, and the kids did something special, and that will be always a memory that I have, and I always will look back and reflect on that season and be grateful for what the kids and coaches did for me at Shenandoah, because they opened up this door and gave me this opportunity to become a head football coach.
And being a head football coach at Frederick County Public Schools, you played at James Wood, coached at Shenandoah, and now the head coach here. I would imagine there's a lot of familiarity in the situation in terms of stepping into this role, and not everything is sort of foreign to you in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with the facility. I'm familiar with the things that are set in place that happen around our county and the events here. But it is a learning curve. There's a lot of new faces that I've met. But I'm just trying my best to build those relationships with the kids, and recruiting just more players out, and just opening up that door for people new to football, and just making an experience that kids love, and we can start to build that a tradition, or build on the tradition of Millbrook football and get it back to where we want it to be.
Have you sort of taken a look at Millbrook? Obviously, a lot of injuries last year, but have you looked at some of the success they've had with the younger kids coming up into this upcoming year? And if so, what have you seen from that, and how well are you working with them so far early on?
Yeah, I know there's potential here, and that's one of the things that stood out to me about this job. That's what swayed me to take a head coaching opportunity. And of course I did my research, and I've watched through the films of the JV team and the varsity team, and I know what kids that can really produce something, and we're always trying to develop and get more out of kids than what they really truly they can believe they can do. But I think as time comes, and we're doing workouts Monday through Thursday, 2:45 to 4:30 is pretty much the standard that we set so far. The consistency that our players are having, and some leadership opportunities that are developing, and the success of our other sports. I'm attending basketball games, peeking in at wrestling, and just trying to recruit the school, get our kids to have the opportunity to compete and in other sports, and I want to support them through that journey and make it happening while they are football players, and hopefully they can learn something from me that contributes to their success in some other sports.
So through workouts, I know when a team has a new head coach, it's sort of like, what's he going to be like? How have you felt the players have welcomed you in early on? And what was that like when you were announced? If you can just take us through the how the players sort of are with you and welcoming you into Millbrook High School.
I felt a great energy from the very first minute I've started talking to kids within the Millbrook football program. I did an announcement in the library one day after school, just informing the kids that I was going to become the head football coach here. I never really thought that kids were concerned. I just felt that there was an excitement. I just also felt like there was an urge to let's get to work. And I think the kids know that I've had a little bit of a history of being successful, so I think there's a buy-in. And we're just increasing our numbers every single day with more participation, And like today, we had an opportunity. Like kids are just stepping up, and they're leading our youth, like the younger kids in the program, and like that's the vision that I want to have. Like just support for each other, and just opportunities for us to be here for each other. And we're gonna have our learning opportunities. I'm gonna have my learning opportunities. I know I'm not perfect. I'm gonna learn through the process, and the kids are gonna do the same thing. But I just wanted to develop that trust and relationship so we can do some good things.
It seems very familiar, and the reason why I touch on this is because you're already in the workout room, working out. Seems like something Shenandoah football does, like a year-round sort of thing. How huge is that you're getting your players that aren't involved in other sports, obviously, involved early so they know maybe what is expected from you in this new Millbrook football program? So come the start of summer camp into fall when the football season starts, it's like they're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, our goal is going to be to train year round, and we got to have the opportunity to do that. And we want to be able to win football games, and I know that's a big part of it. But it's about the character development too. Like I don't want to lose sight of that. Like I want to develop these athletes into young men or young adults that are respected, that are successful at their jobs, and they're good husbands one day. So that is very important to me. But yeah, the year-round work is so important because we're establishing discipline, and we're doing so many little things that the kids don't even realize that we're going to relate to when we're installing scheme and we're talking X's and O's, and we're going to relate back to that. And like that's why we did this, because we want to have good, efficient, productive plays, and it's all relative and relates to each other.
So, Coach, I would imagine there's a lot more work that needs to be done for the start of the football season, being you're a new head coach. What does that sort of look like in your minds in terms of making sure you have the right staff in place and just getting everything logistically set in your eyes? Just take us through, if you can, what that is like and what you are looking to do in the near future to try to improve even more.
Well, it's almost 24/7 work, and there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. Besides probably my fiance or even some of my coworkers at Shenandoah, I'm always trying to do something to plan ahead. And right now, I've met with all of our current staff members that were on the Millbrook football coaching staff last year. And I'm just seeing like how we can use their strengths and take advantage of those things to help us moving forward into the season. We're looking ahead, so we actually have one more workout tomorrow before we move on to our dead period. So that'll be a 2-week break where we actually won't have workouts per VHSL rules. But over that time, we're going to start installing scheme. And then we're going to put together a plan of putting it all together. Like we're gonna have our kids hopefully outside, just working on fundamentals, and then once we feel good with our fundamentals, we're going to start installing. So I think we're trying to get a jump on that compared to other schools, just because things are new. It's going to be a new offense. From the previous offense, there wasn't a lot of throwing the ball. And nothing against the offense because there was success with that offense. But it's just not my style, not what I want to do. But we could definitely have to have some throwing and catching going on because that's going to be part of what our identity. So that'll be established. We look forward to doing 7v7s. I'm considering a little bit of morning work with some select kids before school hours. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of planning. And I think there's some really good resources here and some of the good assistant coaches that are going to help make that happen.
And the assistant coaches, I know very many of the assistant coaches who were on the staff last year. How huge is that you have their support so early on in this process?
Well, I think that just goes for helping me build relationships with the kids. Like, a lot of those coaches have the relationships with the kids that I wanted to develop, and when the kids see that these assistant coaches trust me and they're buying into what I'm doing, I think it just sets the example for the kids, and it just that's just like the bridge for like success, and the bridge for me to build that relationship. But I mean, like, listen, we know we got a lot of work to do, and I'm looking forward to working with a lot of these guys here, because I know there's some strengths on the staff that we can better use for the upcoming season.
And just looking overall, as we just unpack a little bit last season, just overall in the Northwestern District, it just seems like good football all around. A Northwestern District battle between Shenandoah, Millbrook, James Wood, Millbrook, Hanley. It's always good football to attend and watch. Just take me through. Maybe it's not even that different for you, but stepping into a head coaching role, do you evaluate the competition in the Northwestern District any differently?
I've always prepared for each game just to go 1-0, and that's always been a thing that we talked about at Shenandoah. We can't ever overlook any opponents, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, I look ahead and try to put together pieces of, oh, this person's graduating, this person's returning. This team's probably going to do some stuff with this, so we have to be able to have that adjustment in our playbook. But our first opponent's Loudoun Valley. Like, that's who we're looking at right now. I expect there to be some good rivalries over the years between Shenandoah and Hanley. And, I have relationships all at those schools. I graduated from James Wood. Obviously, I just worked at Shenandoah, and I used to work under Coach Smith at Hanley. So I'd expect there to be some heated battles. But like I said, we're just taking one day at a time, and we got a lot of work to do here before we can consider and jump forward to opponents down the road.
Man, it just makes me feel like I can't believe football's over, but just I'm waiting for it to come back. And I'm telling you, folks, the Kirby on Sports podcast will have tons of high school football coverage to come. But for the time being, newly named head football coach Nick Manuel of the Millbrook Pioneers. Coach, can't thank you enough for your time. Congratulations, and we'll see you down the line, because I'm sure we'll be talking a lot come football season.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on here. I'm grateful. This is actually my first open interview, so I'm glad it was here on the Kirby Sports Podcast. I'm looking forward to building the fan support and just establishing that culture here at Millbrook High School. So thank you for having me.